So occasionally, some problem will irk me sufficiently much that it'll prompt me to just do the experiment. And this was an argument that we had loads of times in the lab about, do more expensive red wines actually taste better? I mean, because it's been my experience that once you get beyond about, I don't know, $5, €5 a bottle, that sort of thing, it's an incredibly flat landscape to the point where whether you like a wine depends on your mood, what sort of thing that you're having with it. It depends on all sorts of things. And even from one day to the next, you can have the same bottle of wine and like it on one day and not on the next. And there were other people in the lab who were very, no, you can tell a good bottle of wine from a bad bottle of wine. And so I went to the supermarket and I got 6 bottles of wine. Turns out one of them wasn't even wine. So I moved that out of the list. So I've got 5 bottles now, ranging in price from about €3 to about €15. So if there was a perfect correlation, so I pour these into 5 wine glasses, and first of all I ask people to smell them and tell me which one they like the best, and then I ask them to taste them and tell me which one they think tastes the best. Now, smelling was, these are non-professional people, right? These are just my co-workers. So they're more or less a random selection of people. I've got no expertise in tasting or smelling wine or this sort of thing. Which is good, because if you have to be a professional to tell whether it's a good wine or not, is it really a good wine? Anyway, so I get the 5 glasses of wine and I ask people to smell them. And then I ask them to taste them. And if there was a perfect correlation, the cheapest wine should smell the worst, and the most expensive wine should smell the best. And you would get exactly the same correlation with taste. Now, I should stress, this is just 5 bottles selected randomly from the supermarket. They're all red wines. So let's go for smell first, and let's take a look at how the first person rated the smells. And so as you can see there, they're a bit all over the place. He's certainly not saying that the best wine smells the best or that the cheapest wine smells the worst. And let's take a look at a couple more. And you see that this guy's sort of getting a bit of correlation. This one, not so much. And we'll add a few more in there, and it's getting more of a mess. And so we do this with 10 people all in, and that's what all of the results together look like. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to take the aggregate of all of these. I'm going to average all of the people who think the cheapest one smells the best, this one, and so forth. And we're going to plot that up, which is this plot here. So this is what it would look like if there was a perfect correlation between how expensive the wine is and how nice it smells. And this is what we got in reality from 10 normal people. And right, I should stress that the only wine here that I actually chose was the cheapest bottle here, because it happens to be a wine that I'm familiar with. So, quite often what I'll do is I'll buy a load of bottles of wine, and if I kind of like it, it gets a brownie point. And it was one of the surprising things that there's this really cheap wine that I think smells really nice, and it tastes really nice as well. And so that's the only fixed point in all of this. I didn't tell anyone else about this at all. And people think that it smells the nicest. I mean, it's not a great correlation, but you got to bear in mind that this wine here is a factor of 5 cheaper than this bottle over here. Right, so now we're going to do the same thing again with taste. And the first guy, he likes the most expensive wine, and we'll put a few more up on there. And okay, a few guys actually like the most expensive wine, but in terms of correlation, not so much. and we put more and more people on there. Each one of these lines is a person, and when we put all the people on, they look like that. And if I plot up the averages again, we get this, which is curiously actually, well, okay, they're both basically flat lines. So there is really very little correlation between what people taste as a good wine and price. Now, interestingly, this was a very heavy, woody wine. People could identify it as a very flavory wine. It's just that it was, this was some sort of great special reserve or something. But it wasn't, people didn't really particularly like it. And again, perversely, the only wine that I put in there on purpose was this absolutely completely generic, shitty Californian red. Actually beat out all of the others. So again, this is what it would look like if people could very easily order wines from best to worst. In reality, it's an absolute mess. And it is a very flat landscape. Now, there will be people who say that, $15 isn't a good bottle. That turns out it's the most expensive they had in the supermarket. But I'll wager that, if you actually increase the price by orders of magnitude and do the same thing, you're going to get pretty similar results. I mean, these are not wine tasters or anything. They're just normal people. So there are only 2 wines in here that... There's me wines. So this was the it's so generic I can't even tell you what it is. It's just called Smooth Californian Red, and it's got a distinctive bottle, which is why when I went back to the supermarket I could find it again. But the other one that people kind of liked was this one, which was this sort of gold medal winner Californian Merlot. Yeah, they were all from all over the place, like Italian and all sorts. There was no attempt to get the grapes from the same place or anything like that. This was a completely non-sophisticated attempt to just see if there was any correlation, even a remote correlation, between price and how good it tastes. And not so much. Anyway, so this was the gold medal winner, this guy here. Still didn't beat the cheap, crappy, generic Californian Red. So anyway, hope you found that interesting. If you did, drop a like on this. If you've got any experiences yourself of doing something like this, let me know, because I'm actually kind of interested in just how generic this observation is. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you next time.